Good morning, Year 3. So it's the 8th of February and I'm going to talk you through your maths lesson today. Now, a little bit of fun. I thought we'd have a go at to spot the difference. So if you see any differences throughout this video, maybe you could just have a tally chart next to you on a piece of paper. And at the end of the lesson, you can message in to let me know how many differences you spotted. And I will let you know the correct answer, okay? So our WALT for today is to use column subtraction for 3 and 2-digit numbers when exchanging is required in the hundreds column. So last week with Mrs. Dyer on Friday, you were using column subtraction for 3 and 2-digit numbers and you were exchanging in the tens column. So everything that you learnt with Mrs. Dyer is going to help you in today's lesson. So just pause the video, write the date and WALT and have a think about everything you learnt last week. I think my video froze a little bit there, so sorry if you've just got me staring at the screen. So recap of learning. So we are having a recap of what you learnt with Mrs. Dyer on Friday. So we've got the minuend, 783, subtract the subtrahend, 57, and we're trying to work out the difference. What are we left with? So if you pause your video and have a go at working out that calculation. So let's go through the answer together. So we're going to start with our ones. 3 ones, subtract 7 ones. Now, can we work that out? No, we're going to have to do some exchanging here. So we're going to exchange 1 10. So I'm left with 7 tens for 10 ones. So I've now got 13 ones. So 13 subtract 7, we're going to be left with 6 ones. Now we're going to work out our tens. So 7 tens subtract 5 tens, I'm going to be left with 2 tens, and 700 subtract 000, I'm going to be left with 700. So the correct answer is 726, so B. Today's lesson then, we are going to be exchanging in our hundreds column. So it's really important, Colin's reminded us here, that we line up our digits correctly. And it's especially important as our subtrahend is only a 2-digit number. So we need to make sure that those digits are under the correct place value headings. So let's start with our ones. 7 ones, subtract 4 ones. 7 subtract 4 equals 3. And we can check that by moving our place value counters. So 1 1, 2 ones, and 3 ones, 4 ones. So I'm left with 3 ones. Now I'm going to work out my tens. So 3 tens subtract 6 tens. Can I do that at the moment? No, as the tens in my minuend is less than the tens in my subtrahends. So I'm going to have to exchange. So I'm going to exchange 100 for 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to show that. So I have exchanged 100, so I'm left with 400 for 10 tens. So I've now got 13 tens. So 13 tens subtract 6 tens. So let's subtract 6 tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. How many tens am I left with? So hopefully you can use your number facts to work that out. But if you need to, you can count the tens on your place value grid. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 7 tens. So I'm left with 7 tens. And then I'm going to subtract my hundreds. 400, subtract 0 hundreds. So I'm going to be left with 400 still. So the answer is 473. So hopefully you got that correct if you're working it out alongside me. So we're now going to move on to the next question. So let's have a go at this one. 625 subtract 64. So I've lined up my digits correctly, really being careful that I've lined up my ones underneath my ones and my tens underneath my tens. So I've got 625, that's my minuend, and I'm subtracting 64. So let's start with our ones. 5 ones subtract 4 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm left with 1 1. Now let's have a look at our tens. 2 tens subtract 6 tens. Can't do that at the moment. I've only got 2 tens and I want to subtract 6 tens. So I'm going to have to exchange. So I'm going to exchange 100 for 10 tens. So 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, and 10 tens, so 100. So I have exchanged 100, so I've now got 500s left, for 10 tens, so I've now got 12 tens. 12 subtract 6, we know that we're going to be left with 6 tens, and then 500 subtract 0 hundreds, I'm going to be left with 500. So my answer is 561. Let's have a look at this question. So 428 subtract 48. So my minuend is 428, that's what I've got. And I'm subtracting my subtrahend 48, and I want to work out what I'm left with. What's the difference? So I've got 8 ones and I'm subtracting 8 ones. What am I going to be left with? Yep, you're right, 0 ones. So I'm not going to take away those at the moment. I'm hoping we can do this together in our heads, okay? So now I've got 2 tens and I want to subtract 4 tens. So 2 tens and I want to subtract 4 tens. I can't do that at the moment, so I need to exchange. So I'm going to exchange one of my hundreds for 10 tens. So I've now got 12 tens. 12 tens subtract 4 tens. So use the number fact 12 subtract 4. What are you going to be left with? 8. So 8 tens. And now I'm going to subtract my hundreds. 300 subtract 0 hundreds. I'm going to be left with 300. So my answer, the difference, is 380. Okay, let's try another one. So this time I've got my missing box here. So something equals 308 subtract 54. So what's my first step going to be? As I haven't set it out yet, what's the first step going to be? Hopefully you're all shouting at the screen, put your place value headings. So I'm going to start by putting 100, 10, and my ones. And then what do I need to write? Yeah, that's right. I need to write my minuend. So I'm going to write 308. That's my whole. That's what I've got. Then what do I need to do? I need to write my subtrahend, which is 54. And I need to be really careful here that I'm lining up my digits correctly. So 50, that's 5 tens, and 4 is 4 ones. And then I need to show my equals sign, and that's where I'm going to put the difference. So then I need to start with my ones. So let's start with our ones. 8 ones subtract 4 ones. That's going to leave us with 4 ones. We can show that. We could just cross them out. So that's going to leave us with 4 ones. Now I need to subtract my tens. 0 tens subtract 5 tens. I can't do that at the moment. And why can't I do that? Who can tell me? Why can't I do that? Because the tens in my minuend is less than the tens in my subtrahend. So I need to exchange. So I'm going to exchange 100 for 10 tens. I'm just going to put 10 tens in my tens column. So I've exchanged 100, so I'm left with 200 for 10 tens, so I've now got 10 tens. What's 10 tens subtract 5 tens? So use the number fact 10 subtract 5. I'm left with 5 tens. I'm now going to subtract my hundreds. What's 200 subtract 0? So hopefully you're all saying that's 200, Mrs. Barnes. So my answer is 254 to that calculation. 308 subtract 54 equals 254. So now year 3, you're going to have a go at 4 questions in your home learning book. So as always, I have put some reminders to the side to help you. So Colin is reminding you that you need to line up your digits correctly. And one way to really help you with that is to put your place value headings. So your 100, 10s and 1s. That will really just ensure that you have lined up those digits in the correct place. Then you've got Coco, who has that STEM sentence for you. So you can say this STEM sentence while you are working out the calculations. And Colin's just reminded you that if the tens digit in the minuend is less than the tens digit in the subtrahend, you're going to have to exchange 100 for 10 tens, just like we've been doing throughout this lesson. So pause the video and have a go at those 4 do it questions. So hopefully you've had a go at the 4 questions and we will go through the answers together. So let's start with the first one. 543 subtract 71. So I'm just going to set up my calculation. So 543 subtract 70, so 7 tens and 1 1. So let's start with the ones. 3 ones subtract 1 1. So I know that I'm going to be left with 2 ones. 4 tens subtract 7 tens. Well, Colin has told me that if the tens digit in my minuend is less than my subtrahend, I'm going to have to exchange 100. So I'm going to exchange my 100 for 10 tens. So I've now got 14 tens. 14 tens subtract 7 tens. So the number fact 14 subtract 7. I know I'm going to be left with 7 tens. 400 subtract 0. I'm going to be left with 400. So the answer to the first question is 472. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that one. My rubber, and then we'll have a go at the second calculation. So my minuend this time is 600. Oh, that's a big 6, isn't it? 659 subtract 86. So let's start with our ones. 9 ones subtract 6 ones. I'm going to be left with 3 ones. 5 tens subtract 8 tens. I know I need to exchange here. So I've now got 500s and 15 tens. 15 subtract 8. So that's going to leave me with 7. And then 500 subtract 0 is going to leave me with 500. So the answer to the second question is 573. Okay, I'm going to rub that one out. And let's have a go at the third question. So this time my minuend is 147. So 100, 4 tens and 7 ones. And I'm subtracting 80, so 8 tens, 7 ones. So let's start with our ones. 7 subtract 7, that's nice and easy. I know that I'm going to be left with 0 ones. 4 tens subtract 8 tens. I'm going to have to exchange 100. So now I'm left with 0 hundreds here, but I've now got 14 tens. 14 subtract 8. So 14 subtract 8 is 6. So I've got 6 tens. So the answer to that question was 60. And the last question that you had to go at in your do it was 509. So my minuend is 509 and my subtrahend 73. And I'm trying to work out the difference. So my ones, 9 subtract 3 equals 6. 0 10 subtract 7 tens. I'm going to have to exchange 100 for 10 tens. So I've now got 10 tens. So 10 subtract 7 is 3. So 3 tens. 400 subtract 0 is 400. So the answer is 436. So hopefully you had a good go at those questions and hopefully you've got most of them right. But if you haven't, don't worry. You can obviously go on to you can have some more practice with the Go Deep after. Okay, so let's have a look at your task for today. So your WALT is to use column subtraction for 3 and 2-digit numbers when exchanging is required in the hundreds column. So your go deep for today is, again, Colin is incorrect. So you need to work out why Colin's incorrect. What has he done wrong? Okay, can you help him out? Can you help him work out the correct answer? So again, just like the previous lessons, it would be really good if you could try and use some of the vocabulary that we have been concentrating on. And then the go deeper for today is some missing digits. And I know how much you like these, okay? They are tricky, but try and have a go if you feel able to. So you have got to solve the subtraction calculations, and your challenge is to solve all the calculations together using the digits once. So you've got the digits 0 to 9, and your challenge is to try and use them only once. Okay, so it is a little bit tricky, but I know you can do it. Right then, I will let you get on with your tasks. Now, I'm hoping you were able to spot some differences. I'm not sure if it's worked. Me and technology don't always get along. So you might have seen me pausing the screen, or you might have seen me changing things. I don't know. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you didn't, and you were able to spot some of the differences. So you can always message in and let me know how many you think there were. Okay, and also what you think changed as well. So good luck with your task today. Any questions, just send us a message, and we'll look forward to seeing your work later.